first Rambo had really like a merchandising machine behind it. Did you have any of the
Okay.
toys?
Yeah, that was actually the next thing I was going to bring up. I'm really glad you mentioned this. I mean, we were 100% on this. I remember specifically that we bought not only did I have the action figures, because there was the cartoon that came out the year later in '86, but this was even before that. So I had all the action figures, and we also they sold this Rambo kit, okay? That included red bandana, the bow and arrow, the plastic knife, and then it also even had the jade necklace that you could wear.
Was it super tight?
Yeah, I wore the shit out of that stuff. I mean, I was 100% like into Rambo. I mean, and it's true. It's like you're looking back on and you realize how much it defined not just my childhood, but action movies and that idea of tying the merchandising into a movie that kids probably shouldn't even have been watching in the first place. But we all saw it and we were obsessed with it. And my brother even had the better knife than I did, because he had the one that unscrewed that actually had the compass on it, which I didn't
Yeah.
have because I was younger. So he had even the fancier knife than me. It was so crazy that I even remember that we had the soundtrack to First Blood Part 2 on cassette, and we used to listen to the song Peace in Our Life, which is sung by Frank Stallone, by the way.
Is that the thing over the
Stallone's
end
brother.
credits?
Yeah, the song over the end credits.
Oh,
We loved that song. We used to play it on a cassette tape that we had on the soundtrack. I remember all this stuff vividly. Like we were completely sold on Rambo. Yeah.
I am so glad you're telling me all this because I thought I was an outlier because I was nuts for this stuff. And it wasn't just Rambo. Like I was really into the marketing of that, but it like branched out for me. So uh just quickly, I saw it in the theater. I had a neighbor of my grandmother who was like this little old woman who lived alone, but she loved movies. And so she would just take me to the movies like twice a week as a little kid. And there was like no supervision. I could see whatever she wanted to see. And she just loved this stuff. So when I saw this, I saw Missing in Action. And I was like 9 or 10 years old at the time. And so I saw it in the theater. The marketing was unavoidable. I too had the Rambo action figure. Um, what was cool is like at the time this came out, it was sort of also the rise of like video stores and VHS in people's homes. This was pre-Blockbuster, pre like explosion of Blockbuster. So we had like a go-to mom and pop store, and they would give me
Do you
all of
remember
the
the name of your
posters.
first video store, by the way? I'm sorry, I mean to interrupt you, but do you actually remember what it was called?
Yes, it's called Home Video Library.
Mine was called Video Ventures.
Oh, I like that better.
Yeah,
Actually, they're both pretty good.
yeah, it was a good one. Go ahead.
First, there's a department store local, I think local to Pennsylvania called Bonton, and they for some reason like they're sort of an upscale Macy's kind of thing, but they had a video section, and that was the first place where we actually got VHS tapes. And I remember Mask
Wait, to
was the first
rent or to
one
buy? Because they must have been
to
like
rent.
$50 a piece. Okay, all right. So
Yeah,
they
yeah,
rented
yeah.
them there. Okay, let's check it.
Yeah. And then we moved on to the home video library and a few others that were around town because we had like a network. And my parents were really into this too. And if the home video library didn't have one of the titles we wanted, we would drive around town and like until we found it, which I kind of love. But home video library always gave me the posters. So my bedroom was like Rambo, Cobra. I had one of those door size, like full length posters of Chuck Norris from Invasion USA holding his little Mac 10s. It was insane. So that was my childhood. And speaking of the knife, when I turned this on this week to watch it, it immediately clicked to me. And I said to myself, oh, there's the Jimmy Lyle knife when they showed it, because pre-internet, I was such a little like maniac that I did the research to find out who the knife maker was. And I was
Wow.
reading, like, I don't know if I saw it in like Knife magazine or something, but I'm sure there was a Rambo tie-in to like these magazines of knives and like bow and arrow and all this stuff. I too had the knife your brother had with the hollow handle and the little matches in it. We had a sporting goods store right down the street. So I went there and I bought the knife. It absolutely was not the size of Rambo's knife in this movie, which is like 2 feet long. It was just kind of a little version of that, but it was a knife nonetheless. I mean, it could still do some damage. I also had sort of a kid-sized compound bow and arrow that I got after watching this. So how I was not mortally wounded as a kid and how my
Yeah.
parents let me get away with all this, I do not know.
Every kid wanted to shoot bows and arrows. I mean, it really did have a huge influence on us. So